Welcome everyone. This is Waffle Flower's Builder 3 bundle. Waffle Flower reached out to me and asked me if I would like a gift card to try one of their products, which I have a few already. I recently did a video on We Heard set, which is absolutely adorable. Anyway, so I'm going to open this up and take a look, and we'll make a card with it. This is Bouquet Builder 3. They have 1 and 2, which I don't have at this time. What's nice about these sets is they come in a magnetic sheet, so you can store them all together in this really pretty pouch. It's heavy-duty plastic, and it's really pretty. So, love that. Okay, let's take out the dies. This is heavy. I keep these sheets. I have so many of them. I keep them from when I want to put a stamp down and I don't want to clean it if I'm doing repeat stamping and I want to get the alignment right. So I just use this as a barrier. Okay. You can either keep this or get rid of it. I am a hoarder, so I keep everything. Okay. Wow, there are a lot of dies on this sheet. Wow, and this one, look at the size of that. Look at that. The intricacy of this die is insane. Look at that. You can probably see it better on the sheet here. Wow. What a beautiful set. Okay, that's the die, and the stamp, I'm going in reverse order here, is this. Look how beautiful that, I mean, this alone will fill up a huge card. I mean, you could do these individual flowers and leaves, and then, or you could do this whole bouquet. And then you can add these on top as well. What a beautiful set. I'm a big floral fan. Anybody that knows me knows I tend to make floral cards. But this one's different. This is more like wildflowers kind of in a bunch, you know. So it's different than anything else I have. So I'm happy to have this. Thank you so much, Waffle Flower, for reaching out to me and gifting me with a gift card to enable me to get this set. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just really happy to have it. So let's move on and make something with it. I just wanted to show you this. Some sets come with a little piece of tape here. I am a messy crafter. This one doesn't have it, so what I do is I just wanted to show you this little, I mean, it's common sense, but I just take a little piece of this and I stick it on here and I fold it over. This way I don't lose it, because I have done that in the past where I take it off, put it down, I can't see it, and then it gets dirty, or it'll get a cat hair on it or whatnot. So I just put this on here. I use my duct tape and I just stick a piece on there. I use this a lot. I use this also when I have big stamp envelopes and storage envelopes for 6x6 cards. I'll show you. This right here, this is good for like a Simon Says Stamp 6x6 background, but it's too high. So what I'll do is I'll trim some off, and then it'll be cut like that, and then I'll put a piece of tape across, and you know, this way I have a custom size envelope, because the width is good, it's just the height is too long. So anyway, just wanted to show you that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, here you're seeing I just got a new full-size Misti, not the memory Misti, just the, you know, 8x6 Misti. And I'm putting my Bristol in there, and I realized it was a little bit too big, so I trimmed it down and putting it inside, just lining it up and just I'm not used to using an 8x6. I used to use the stamp platform, which was 8x8. And I actually use a correction, 8.5 by 8.5. The Tim Holtz the Tim Holtz stamp platform, excuse me. But I recently changed to the Misti because I was having a little problems getting a good impression on certain areas of my door. So anyway, moving on. I'm opening up my Bouquet Builder 3 stamp set. And I'm not quite sure what kind of card I'm going to make yet. I do know I want to watercolor on Bristol. Don't know what colors. Don't know any other thing. I never plan ahead. And yes, when I take my stamps out, I snip them. I don't know why. It's a chemical smell, but the photopolymer, I like the way it smells. I don't know. It's just me. I'm figuring out a good placement here for the stamp and getting ready to stamp. I'm using Versafine Clair in Nocturne, and I'm grabbing my little embossing buddy or embossing bag, and there's my Misti magnet, and I'm just pre-treating the area. I'm using a clothespin on the powder bag because I can't stand it, and I keep it in that little tin I got from Michael's for like $1. I keep it in there to contain the powder because I can't stand the feel of powder. It gives me the chills. It's like chalk. I cannot touch chalk. Anyway, okay, so I'm stamping here with Versafine Clair, and I forgot, because it's a new stamp, I forgot to wipe it with my hand to kind of remove that initial film or coating or whatever's on there. Usually I prep it with my hand, and as you can see, I missed a huge stripe. Way to go, Kelly, way to go. So that's the beauty of the stamp positioner or Misti, that you can just stamp it over and over and over until you get it right. That's why I love it. Okay, so I restamped it, and it still needed some more ink in some more areas. I might have to re-ink up my pad a little bit too. I'm not sure. Maybe I wasn't pushing down hard enough. But anyway, I'm putting a little more pressure on it. Sometimes I put too much ink, and then when I go to stamp, I get little blotchy edges. So I'd rather go light-handed and then apply more, because you can always add more. Can't take it away. So at this point, I was pretty happy with the image, and I think there was one more spot. Yeah, just had to retouch up a little spot. Yeah, and yeah. Just want to make sure my paper didn't move. Because I have the duct tape on there, my magnet isn't as strong. Okay, so it seems to be okay. Oh, there was one more little spot. Yeah, it's got to be even, you know. It bothers me if it's not. Yeah, it was okay. So I'm going to put clear embossing powder on top of this. I use a lot of clear, and I love the clear because you can put it on top of any color ink, you know, pigment or Distress Oxide ink, and then it looks like whatever color ink you have, it looks like embossing powder, you know. So yeah, I like when I use clear on top of the pigment ink, because I won't smudge it, and watercoloring, it creates these little edges and it keeps the color contained in the areas. So as you can see, I have a lot of clear embossing powder. It's from Wow. I keep it in a container because I use it all the time. And I have enough there probably to last my lifetime and anybody else's lifetime. Unfortunately, my daughter's not into stamping. Otherwise, I would pass all my stamping supplies, craft supplies, on to her. But unfortunately, she's not. It's heartbreaking. Anyway, I'm using a laminated sheet here for watercoloring because it's just a white sheet that I put through a laminator, copy sheet, And I put water on there because you'll see it stays in a dome shape. As opposed if you put water onto a glass mat, it spreads out like a puddle. And I don't like that. So I just use a cheap little laminated sheet and it makes me happy. Now I'm picking out my colors for my palette here for my image. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got two of the same pinks. Didn't realize that. Neither one of them was swatched, so I wasn't sure exactly what color I was going to get, but I knew it was pretty enough to go with. So I used those four colors, pink, purple, teal, and lime green, and put my the dropper that I love. See how it stays in like a ball shape. It's great. Okay, I think my phone just alerted. I apologize for that. Okay, anyway, so yeah, just gonna go ahead and speed this up because I'm going to just watercolor. Nothing fancy here, guys. I'm just, because this image is so beautiful and it has the shading where it needs to be, I just added color. Just nothing crazy, just color. No, you know, I didn't go, this would be pretty to color with Copics, which I plan on doing in the future, but I didn't want, you know, that's going to take me some time. I just wanted to add quick color to this image and kind of review this because, you know, Waffle Flower, like I said, reached out to me and asked me if I would try something. So this is what I chose, and I just wanted to just make a quick card using this. So in doing so, I just chose to watercolor. I'm just adding, you know, just the pink, you know, going around. And yeah, what's good about those little ink water blobs is that I can just change colors just by running my brush bristles through it. I don't need any cups of water because I will knock it over. I will. And it's too, I don't have much of a workspace. So I like this method. It works for me. All right, I'm cleaning up a little boo-boo there, and that's it. Okay, now see this panel, I had made this with texture paste. This sheet is a 5x7, and it's I'm going to show you this texture paste. It's the first time I've used it. It was like very fluffy kind of, and I put it on a piece of alcohol Yupo paper. Yupo paper, and I had planned on adding alcohol ink to it. However, I left it on the side. It was one of those panels that just sat on its side. Then I thought, wait a minute, let me add that on top and see how it looks. And because it's such a big image, it looked really nice on that textured background. So here I am now making a card base because this panel is large. I trimmed it down. It was 5x7, so it's a little smaller than that. I'm just trying to figure out, how big this card base needs to be for this panel. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, well, the texture paste panel is a little bit kind of off-white. It's not as white as the card base. And then I thought maybe an ivory base might look nice. So I was making an ivory base using my Score Buddy here. I have the full size, the 12x12. And this ivory was a little bit too yellow for me. But I wanted to see if that would look a little bit better, And I was like, no, I'm going to go with the white. It's more clean, it just kind of was more cohesive together. So, put that yellow one off to the side. Now, I'm going to use my the Happy Birthday sentiment that comes with the set. I'm just stamping it out. Again, I'm using Bristol to match the other cardstock that I used. And I'm just lining it up. And I'm like, wait a minute, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to die cut it anyway. I'm in such a habit of trying to make sure it's straight and whatnot. And then I realized, wait, that's okay. As long as I have room for the die to fit around, we're good to go. So I stamped that out. Then pre-treated it with my powder bag. Again, because I don't like to touch it. And once that was done, I used again Versafine Clair in Nocturne. That's pretty much my go-to. I mean, I used the regular Versafine Onyx. I used that too. But that's actually on the wall on my ink pad holder. So this one was just closer, so that's why I used it. Honestly, I did a video on the comparison of the Onyx and the Versafine, the Nocturne. And I got to be honest with you, I did not see a difference. The only difference is one has a lid that's attached, the Onyx, and the Versafine Clair, the lid comes off. But the results are no different whatsoever. No different. So if you have one and not the other, don't feel that you have to go out and get the other one, because you don't. Any Versafine, the Onyx or the Clair, is exactly the same. At least in my opinion. And I don't know. I've done tests on both. Okay, so now gluing this guy to the panel is tricky because it's so textured. I put Nuvo glue on. Right now I'm just getting my placement out. I'll show you. Okay, so what I was doing here, I was just measuring it. I wanted to see how I put the measurements earlier in the video. This floral image is 6.5 inches high and 4.5 inches wide. So I didn't want to cut any of it off. So that's why I made my panel bigger. But yeah, I just wanted to measure it quickly. It is a big one. It'll also look good off-centered, to the side. Maybe trimming some off that hangs off. But for now, again, I didn't want to trim any, and I just wanted to keep it the focal point. I use foam to adhere my panel to my card base. Now, the tricky part here, what I was starting to mention before, the Nuvo glue is a strong glue. It's one of my favorite wet adhesives. Nuvo, this one, I like Multimedia Matte, and I like Distress Collage. They're very strong, good adhesives. I needed a wet because I wanted it to kind of really soak and grab into the texture paste. I didn't want to use dry because, I just felt that the wet would grab into the nooks and crannies or whatnot. So I added a lot, especially to the edges, so they would grab on. And once I put it down, you know, looking back, I wish I went to the left a little bit more, like an 1/18 of an inch. An 1/8 of an inch. But whatever, it's already on there. I put clear blocks on top and let it sit for like 5 minutes to really, you know, make it stick. And there was one leaf that I had to add on the bottom right here. Yeah, I had to add a little bit more glue. I did, and then I used my reverse tweezers, a tool I cannot live without. I love them. I have 2 pairs of these kind, and then I have another pair from Cricut. But anyway, then I'm figuring out my placement for my happy birthday. Do I want it up there to kind of go in the white, you know, the open space? And then I said, no, I'm going to keep it right in the center, keep it the focal point at the center. So I glued the sentiments down. And yeah, there we go. And then the bottom. And then if you see to the left, I have the shimmer pen and the white gel pen. I was going to add Nuvo drops. Then I'm like, wait a minute. No, I can't. Unless I put them on the center, the flat area of the texture paste, I wouldn't get a nice result. So I didn't want to mess up the card at this point, so I opted not to use the Nuvo drops, and instead I just added some Spectrum Noir Sparkle Shimmer Pen, wiping off in between because the liquid wetness reactivates the watercolor. So I always remember to wipe your brush bristles off before you switch colors. I had a little white gel pen for a little extra highlights in some areas, and that's it. There you go, folks. That's the card. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really, it means a lot.